This will be the geriatric portion of the show. Thank you very much. So you may not be feeling it, but there's a tension going on between me and Jason, and I want to clarify it publicly. A few weeks ago when he performed, he told the audience that his girlfriend cheated on him. And he wanted to avenge that, but he wasn't sure that he had the right approach. He told the audience that he gave her father a blowjob. Now, I'm not making this up, this is what he said. So publicly and in front of everybody, I want to say, Jason, my daughter was wrong for cheating on you. Some people in the second row didn't get it. Or they're appalled. I'll plod on. I grew up in Bayside, Queens, New York. Back at you, sister. And the most famous native of Bayside, Queens, New York, of course, is the famous Ron Jeremy of pornography fame. Yes, we grew up in the same neighborhood. Ron is a few years younger than I, but I'm a few inches bigger. No, lady, no. Look here. It's height, I know. Bayside, Queens was the safest place to grow up in the world, outside your house. Inside, not so much. The little area that I lived in, we called Ittsville. There was Leibowitz, Moskowitz, Markowitz, Manischewitz. My name is Robbins. I went to my grandfather. I said, Pop, I need a Jewish name. He said, how about Putz? Hurtful, yes. He was our rabbi. That's just wrong. I'm saying, nah, I can't see this. It's just not happening. I have a thing going with the guy in the second row. It's just not working. All right. So I moved to Asheville, and one of the amazing things in Asheville is driving. Different driving here than in New York. Down here, if I'm driving behind a tractor, I'm driving behind a tractor. In New York, we're cutting people off to get places we don't even want to go. Take this wedding. It was a long trip, but I had to go. I couldn't stand the bride, but I had to go. It was my wedding, and I had to go. I should have known that we were in not the right place when the rabbi, my grandfather, put the glass on the floor and said, let's watch Randy put his foot down for the last time. I'm feeling the love. You're feeling so sorry for me. This is a Jewish crowd. Anyway, he was right, sadly. My wife was a wonderful person, don't get me wrong. Generous like crazy. She would give you the shirt off her back, which she did, by the way, on our first date. Which is why, more or less, there was a second date. But we had trouble communicating. I don't like to give advice, ladies. Please don't read to your husbands from women's magazines. Just a little unsolicited advice. I'm watching a football game. She's reading Cosmo. She clears her throat. That's the sign. Says here, men do not pay careful attention to genital hygiene. I'm thinking, what? But what I said was, what? She said, wash your balls. Now, we were married a long time. I wanted to please her. I said, I'll wash them. I'll wax them. you have to give them back to me first. If you like that, you'll be happier with this. There's a law in New York called equitable distribution. And as a result, I got one back in the divorce. It would have been different if I was from Montana. I just know it. So, I started doing comedy 20 years ago. I took a class similar to what I teach at the college. Is anyone here in my class this term? No, you don't raise your hand, you call out. Yeah, all right. I'm talking about oh yeah, there are 2 people here from my comedy class. Long story short, I learned a lot, not enough, but a lot, about stand-up comedy. And one of the things that I got from the instructor was how to deal with an audience. Jason handled some good heckling from the crowd with real great aplomb. This guy, my instructor, at one of the shows he did that I was present at, would talk to the audience, and he said to a guy like in the 3rd row, first seat, "What do you do for a living?" And the guy said, "I disinfect bowling shoes." The teacher says, "That is the worst job I have ever heard of." Turns to the person next to him and says, "What do you do?" He says, "I'm his assistant." So I'm thinking, that's easy. I'm going to do that too. I got to do one showcase in the Improv in New York. And I asked the audience a question. And what I got in response was dead silence. Flop sweat is starting to come. I go, "People, I need feedback." Voice in the back calls out, "You want feedback? You suck." It was my sister. Now I know you're agreeing with me. That was very immature. I called mommy right away. To perform in New York, as opposed to here where you can sign up for an open mic. In New York, you have to bring paying customers in order to get stage time. So once I sent 193 emails to try to solicit 6 people to come to my show. I got back one response. "Delete me from your mailing list. I heard you suck. Love, mommy." Nice try. I know. It was really bad. Really bad. It was a terrible performance, I have to say. You won't be surprised to know this. I'm a highly addictive person. I can be addicted to food, drugs, gambling, sex. You name the substance other than alcohol, I've abused it. This is true. I used to have an embarrassing and unusual eating disorder. When I would hear the word smorgasbord, I would get an erection. I would pay for that to happen today. I'm feeling it. So, you can guess that having been the grandchild of this rabbi, my spiritual nature did not flow into religion. It was much more into the spiritual aspect, and I embraced the 12 steps. I have gone to OA, AA, GA, NA, SLAA. I even found in rural Iowa a little-known group, BAA, Barnyard Animals Anonymous. And I went to a meeting. And there's a guy celebrating like an anniversary. Going, what? He said, thanks to God and the 12 steps of Barnyard Animals Anonymous, also known, by the way, as BAA. I haven't been with a female sheep since May 11th, 1989. And the place erupted. They were, yes, Charlie, that is great. Waits for the quiet, and he says, I haven't been with a male sheep since Thursday. Exactly a year and a half ago, I'm in rehearsals in Waynesville at the Hart Theater to play, of all things, the rabbi in Fiddler on the Roof. One night, I'm at rehearsal. Next day, I'm in the hospital having a catheterization, and I wake up to a surgeon telling me, hey, welcome back. I'll see you tomorrow. We're doing open heart surgery. So that was interesting. I did well. Everything is good, as you can tell. This is a year and a half later. But as a result, I had to embrace a different lifestyle. Of all things, the vegan lifestyle. The dreaded vegan lifestyle. Now, I'm a lapsed vegan, I have to admit. I still love St. Louis ribs in South Carolina every month and a few other things. But I've really changed. And because I'm a meetings kind of guy, I go to a lot of vegan meetings at the college, all kinds of things. And I hate it. I hate everything about it. They're all talking about all these wonderful foods that I gag on. But here's the thing. At that group, see, I just violated a great rule. Never step over somebody's laughter. Should have let it go. I start again. Pander. I love to pander. I'm listening to a woman talking about another non-favorite thing of mine. She's talking about dogs. No offense to anybody. I'm not a dog kind of guy. But she is beside herself. She said her neighbors next door let the dogs out onto the porch, if you will, early in the morning. They don't come back to take these dogs in until late at night, and all the dogs do is bark incessantly. It's driving her crazy. Okay, I can be helpful. I want to give her the New York solution. So I said, listen, I wouldn't do this. But in New York, they would wrap chopped meat around crushed glass, lob it over the fence. 30 minutes later, voila, problem solved. Now this is a great audience because I got 3 groans, but a lot of, oh my God. Relax, this is very redemptive. So I advised her, toss the thing over the fence, but this is Asheville. And she says to me, are you crazy? Red meat? Better, lady? Is it better now? Yeah. And furthermore, you can all relax. No dogs were harmed in the writing of this joke. Just want to say. So that's almost all. I want to talk about my career. I was, for 34 years, a special education teacher, I'm sure you're not surprised, in New York City. Thank you. Wait, hold your applause. You'll like this better. I work with severely emotionally disturbed children, sort of like the Mike Tysons of the world, to tell you the truth. And my job was to be crisis intervention person. If a kid went off, I had to get him out of class, settle down, and then back to class. That's the job. One day, a 3rd grader goes off. I have to get him out of class. As I'm escorting him, he says, don't touch me, faggot. Okay, I can handle this. I'm a professional. I take him to the timeout room, sit him down. I find out what his real problem is. His bus had been late in the morning. He missed breakfast. He was hungry. So he was upset. Calling me a name, that was his way. So I got him some cereal and some milk. We talked about labeling and being offensive. Got him back to class. A job well done on both parts. Next week, same child, different story. He is furious. And on the way out of class, he says to me, you are a big, fat, stupid, white, ugly motherfucker. Now, most of that's true. But ugly? That hurt. It tested my professional mettle. So, what to say? I thought, and finally I came up with the best solution. I said to him, well, you left out faggot. And I can't tell you what I did to him next, because the statute of limitations never expire. But if I had the nerve that Becca had, I would have told you that joke, and you would be loving it. Someday. Thank you. Thanks for your time.